great time for the games industry right now, and there's been so much activity happening between Canada and Brazil over the last couple of years. There's such a great friendship there. There are so many partnerships that have already been starting to form, and I think there's a huge opportunity to work together in partnership, whether it's to help to cross-promote and cross-market between North America and South America, or whether it is to work in partnership building out different aspects of a game or an interactive production or a transmedia production. One of the things that we've been working on as a trade organization has been trying to promote international co-production, to find the means of funding those kinds of partnerships. Right now, we have a few channels that may be open to that, especially around transmedia, where television and interactive media come together. That's kind of the next level. I think the funding from the Canada Media Fund, which is our biggest fund for interactive and television production, is now open to finding new ways of structuring the program so that, and I know for a fact from having just recently spoken to their head of policy development that they've been talking about Brazil, and they're thinking about how can we build that better partnership, and how can we build the structure of our program and our fund to be able to facilitate those kinds of partnerships. I think Brazil is very, very well positioned to become a major player in the games industry. Talent there is second to none, and I think there's been a huge explosion in growth in the number of companies at all levels. Brazil is coming into the market, the sort of international market, at a specific time when that market has been changing very, very dramatically. There's so much more production happening on platforms that don't require the same kinds of huge capital investments, and yet we're seeing the rise of the entrepreneurial culture. And but speaking of games in iOS and Apple iPhone platform, on Android platform, so much attention is sort of focusing on Brazil in the next few years too. That I think there'll be a big opportunity to showcase the excellence and the talent from Brazilian companies. So there are a huge number of possibilities of how Brazilian companies can make a relationship with Canadian companies. The tax incentives are only really a part of the picture. What's really critical is talent and expertise. So building up a very specific domain expertise, research, having technology that's unique is certainly a huge value add, something that's very valuable in a partnership. And having the best teams. So bringing that to the table, I think Brazil has a strong focus on innovation, and university culture is very vibrant and strong. There's a lot of research, so that is certainly a big value in terms of a partnership. The only way to have a relationship is to actually get together. So I think we've already started that in the last couple of years, with things like the real content market. For games, I think big is a big opportunity to get more Canadians down to Brazil. We've already started publicizing the opportunities for independent game developers to make application to be chosen to go, and we hope that some of our Canadian companies will get chosen to go to Big Festival this fall. But it's really about proximity. It's really about getting the business people together, the creative people together, because they always find they find where the value is. They're able to hone in on, and they find who they want to work with. Canada is now the number 3 games industry in the world. Over 16,000 people working here across Canada, and a big part of why we had an incredible amount of growth over the past several years has been those strategic incentives on the tax side for funding labor, offsetting the cost of labor, making Canada more competitive with some of the lower cost economies, and then at the same time funding innovation, funding small companies through subsidy programs like the Canada Media Fund. So at the end of the day, what you want to do is create this a very rich ecosystem where you've got players working at all different levels, where you've got talent at all different junior, mid-level, senior, and you've got big multinational companies and you've got very small independent companies, and that creates a huge amount of vibrancy. You've got from the big like Hollywood type studios for games, because that attracts a lot of talent. A lot of people come thinking they want to work with those types of companies. A lot of them then spin off and create their own companies. So there's two important things. It's money and it's talent, and you've got to sort of support both. You'll start going talent, money, and you start a virtuous cycle. And that's what Hollywood is. That's what Silicon Valley is. So the best you can do to support both those two things, help get stuff made, by making sure that you're bringing in, attracting, and training the best talent, and making sure that the capital is there. And if the private sector isn't providing the capital, then if the government may have a strong role to be able to step in and start that going. And then, so down the road, what you're looking for is once that starts turning, the government's piece of the investment gets smaller and smaller and smaller, because if there's money to be made, the private sector will step in and want to be a part of it.